that's what, just because you got a little size doesn't mean that you are going to be the supreme athlete.
Right.
But I think it's almost a natural thing within our community that people push
push
towards.
Yeah, because
sports.
they feel like that is the way out a lot of times. And I think too, and nowadays even more so, I highly recommend that people have their children active in something. But I would absolutely say add something beyond sports as well.
Yeah.
If you have the time.
Yeah.
I did try chess. I tried golf. I tried, swimming. I tried all those things, but we just kept coming back to baseball because he just loved baseball. And then once, and from, we do know that even when they get drafted, you look at that, like how they break everything down. Like they talk about their physical makeup and all that. It's almost kind of racist.
Yeah, it
kind of
often equated the whole draft process to
it's like
slavery,
like almost like you got this stud that has this and his wingspan is that and that. It's very reminiscent of what we used to So, but DJ definitely passes the eye test. He always has. He now is 6'5" and whatever he weighs. But even when he was 13, 14, people used to be like, oh. And Joe would tell him, he was like, he naturally has what you cannot buy. Yeah. That type of thing. But I do agree with you. I think it kept our kids out of a lot of things because they just didn't have time. Yeah. They didn't have the time. Yeah.
And Idle Mind is the devil's workshop.
Agreed.
So, my thing was keep them jokers busy and out of trouble. And, and not to say that's the thing, like that's it. Because even within sports, they're always going to be exposed to peer pressure, to just, to drugs.
Right.
As we know, it is such a freaking epidemic what's going on with the weed, and even other drugs, pills.
Yeah.
So like you cannot be in denial that just because you raise your kid a certain way and you think that they won't do it, that they won't do it.
I had a friend who ran a nonprofit organization, and I remember asking him, he said it was always an assumption that the boys that he helped were the ones who were from lower income or didn't have exposure. He said, I'm getting as many requests from them parents up on the north side living in gated communities to help with their children who have, multiple $100,000 a year income, household incomes and that type of thing, because they're losing their children too.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Well, we don't have community parenting anymore. And that's one of the things that I did love about sports because it is a community. We are together all day on Saturday and Friday. You start the tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So you do kind of have that feeling. And I think that's another thing you can insulate your children in that space because coaches would step up. A lot of times the coaches who they would step up. Don't ever date them though. Because I did, and it was horrible.
Well, we know and I took. Listen, no, I get it. And your experience was one like that. That's why you don't, right?
Yeah, you don't.
You don't. That's why you don't because that was.
I don't even know how that happened, but.
Well, no, we know it happened because you were very vulnerable. You were grieving,
yes,
and in your vulnerable state, you just kind of went somewhere you shouldn't have. Yeah, he prayed on my girl.
Prayed on me.
Yeah,
I have to take sucker. I gotta take that L.
That's sucker. We won't fall.
But anyway,
still to this day, it burns me up.
Oh my
that
God!
joker.
Everybody wants baby, we want to pull up.
Little midget.
But
anywho, sorry,
I digress. Okay. But yeah, I do think that's important too, because a lot of those young men out there, they don't have fathers in the home, and they do need to see, what that looks like and that type of thing. So I think that part is important, but there are so many things that happen with raising athletes that people don't talk about. You don't prepare them for. I wasn't prepared for the injury.
Yeah,
the injuries. Like DJ never had an injury until after graduating.
Yeah, that
was the first time. And then just, graduating during COVID and just, it's been a journey. And I don't think he was ever prepared, or I didn't know how to prepare him for the mental effects of having an injury and seeing everything you've invested and worked through all of those years, thinking that this is what we prepared for him to go to the next level in this, at least get a college degree. Get your college education paid for.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. Injuries are a part of being an athlete too, and there's few that go through the course of, however long they play, whether it's, elementary, middle school, high school, and not end up with having something happen. Right. But I think about all my children, even bonus children, all of my bonus children, everybody experienced something, and the mental, how that plays on your mental during that that time of being idle, of just, just the doubt, like, am I going to be able to come back as strong and, as I was before, so it's a lot that you have to be therapist and counselor and make sure that their mindset, building them up, giving them the confidence and even coming back from the injuries. Chase, my middle baby, really struggled because he had back-to-back injuries. He fractured his foot. Chase is at Clemson. He's a senior now at Clemson, and Dylan is a sophomore at Clemson. And he, bless his heart, he just had to work through some really tough things that happened to him early on in his career. But I really take so much pride in how he bounced back.
Yeah, he did.
And is now back stronger than ever. So I'm just excited for him in his last season. So I wanted to go back because you mentioned something about, not dating the coaches, in which I took pride in. I was like, no, I'm not dating. That is just taboo for me. I'm not about to be one of them mamas out there. And I had 3 boys with a whole lot of different coaches and a whole lot of different sports. So I wasn't going to be that mama, right? And we know there are those mamas out there. Absolutely. So I said, no, that won't be me, dear. So yes, I wasn't dating my son's coaches. But then I ended up meeting Ryan, and we met through, this was AAU. He wasn't necessarily my son's coach at the time, but he was recruiting Chase to be on his team. And it was interesting how that all played out because I gave him pushback because just on the notion, the idea that he could be my son's coach. And but one thing led to another, and he ended up not necessarily being his coach, but he ended up being in the program, but not necessarily coaching him. And I was open to it. We see where that led. So, it's one thing where you just kind of put your foot down across the board, say, because that was me. I said that's not going to be me. But that situation kind of played out and worked out in my favor. So, it's weird though, because I resisted. I gave him plenty of resistance up front because of that, because I was going to hold tight to my standards. But, we kind of worked around it. And we both had children that were all in sports at the time. So it made sense for us.
I mean, and I'm being facetious because, you never know how you're going to meet somebody.
Right,
obviously, we spend a lot of time at the field or at the court or whatever it is when you have a child that's playing sports, and especially when they start playing at a higher level, AAU and things like that, or travel ball or whatever, in my case with DJ. So it's not uncommon. I mean, listen,
but just don't
that
be that
could be
mama.
a whole nother podcast,
right? Just don't be that mama that's going from coach to coach and getting that reputation.
Absolutely.
Because we are. Don't be that mama, y'all.
Don't be that
mama, y'all.
Don't be that. Mama.
Don't be her.
But so it's not uncommon that you may meet somebody if you're sitting at the freaking thing all day, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. But I just think that sometimes those coaches will play games, and they we can get a little bit more playing time. I can.
Oh, and trust me, that happens too. That happens. Yes,
it's the truth.
Yeah, it's absolute truth.
I'm telling you, it's like it's like they, and a lot of the coaches are ex-players, whatever. So it's just it's a whole community.
Yeah,
it's a whole community, that whole thing. But but I am grateful for the good coaches that my son had. The ones who didn't play daddy ball. Let me see who didn't play daddy ball. Cause I
don't say no names.
I ain't gonna say no names, but I'm trying to think who did not play daddy ball. I don't think that.
Damn, you have to think that hard.
I don't think. I'm serious. Like I'm telling you, to me, his best coach, and I'm gonna say his name was Coach Joe, Joe Austin, because Coach Joe was a great coach. Joe was a great coach, man. Joe really, really, especially with baseball, because he taught them boys how to play baseball over here at Sandtown the way they needed to be taught. Learning from, because baseball specifically is a neck up sport,